Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about INTP's cognitive dissonance. So first I'll start with the definition of Google. So the state of having inconsistent thoughts, beliefs or attitudes, especially as relating to behavioural decisions and attitude change. Now this is a big problem as to why INTPs aren't sure about themselves when they do actions, because we feel like we need a lot of time to think about it and be sure about what we're doing. So on the inside, INTPs are perfectionists, sort of like very refined ENTJs who need to think very clearly about what they're doing before performing it. Whereas an ENTJ has the shadow functions TE and I, where they're more sort of like the bull at the gates. They get stuff done. They're always closing. Um, Whereas INTPs TINE is more about finding the most efficient way of doing things. So TI is reflective, whereas T is active. So TI takes a lot longer, but I suppose TI in the long run will produce better work because it's thought it through. Same with NE, it pulls it all apart. So I think for INTPs, cognitive dissonance becomes less of a problem as they become more sure about their views. Richard Dawkins is a popular atheist who has written a lot of interesting books and has become quite successful. So in his younger years, he did a science degree and he worked in the field. And you can tell that over time he's built more confidence through his knowledge. So I think it's a matter of INTPs being open-minded to all sorts of things, coming to conclusions and establishing certain more certainty in their views and being able to share this through writing, speech, whatever. So I've been looking at Myers-Briggs for about 2 years and I feel quite confident. There's always more to learn, so I always want to talk more about it. I think it's a great system and it makes you understand why you behave in the ways you do. So yeah, INTPs like cognitive. A few examples of cognitive dissonance is sort of like which career to take. It's like yes, I know committing to computer science would do me a lot of good and could potentially make me a lot of money. However, I want to keep my mind open to other options because of the perceiving. It's just naturally how my mind naturally works. I feel very constricted when I try and settle on one thing. I'm 20 years old and I was reading about the different stages of the functions developing. Introvert thinking is very present from birth till about age 13, then 13 to about early 20s is extrovert intuition, and then from then on it is introvert sensing until about midlife, and then extrovert feeling starts to develop more. So you can tell through this information, you can see why INTPs generally do better later in life because introvert sensing and extrovert feeling are the functions that propel INTPs to exercise their introvert thinking and their extroverted intuition. And the development of these functions gives INTPs more confidence in producing work. Larry David, the creator of Seinfeld, he didn't write Seinfeld till his 30s, which is when typically infrared sensing develops. So he would have had a urge to do good work. Whereas an INTP who's younger probably has less motivation. Um, but I believe INTPs are late bloomers. It's a funny type to be. Like, well, with religion, I feel pretty confident in certain things. Like I can see, I really like Buddhism, so that's I have quite a bit of confidence in Buddhism. However, I'm still open to science and reading Richard Dawkins content and those sorts of things. Um, but like, even though it's a struggle to find a path as an INTP in your younger years, it's still good to be one because I love my constant wonder, not wonder, well, wonder as well, wonder about life. I'm always fascinated about different things. I love the internet. I love how I can read about certain things. So yeah, like it has its pros and cons, but I think INTPs become more well rounded later on in life, um, and so it's a matter of being grateful and content for INTPs a lot, I think. I like the sort of Zen lifestyle where it's very basic. You just have your bed on the floor, a few books, and it's a bare room. I love that. Like, so I think being an INTP is good in a lot of ways because we're minimalists. We're sort of natural minimalists. Yeah. So I assume cognitive dissonance becomes less of a problem over time. INTJs are more certain in their views than INTPs. However, both can be very strong in their views over time. INTPs have introverted thinking, which is looking for conclusions, wanting conclusions. However, extroverted intuition wants to keep things open. Yet, introverted sensing in the tertiary function, which develops over time, wants to find conclusions within data. So as SI develops over time, it makes sense that INTPs become more confident in their NE views. So yeah, thank you for watching. Cheers.